Hi everyone, I'm Julie Waters from Glendale 11.
And I'm Steve McLaughlin with CBS 5.
We are here in the Glendale 11 control room to tell you about a new show.
Well, it's that time of year for the monsoon to make its way into Arizona.
And here at Glendale 11, we are excited to share with you a TV program produced by CBS 5 about the monsoon. What you need to know and how to stay safe. Now, seeing the monsoon, basically, it is thunderstorms that can take people by surprise.
Yeah, they really can. The seasonal wind shift produces massive thunderstorms that contain very strong wind, dust, rain, lightning, and many times severe flooding. So each year at CBS 5, we put together this special and wanted to share it with your viewers here in Glendale to inform people about the monsoon. Now, we talk a little bit about the science of it, what to look for, and again, how to stay safe.
And that safety part is something we're focusing on here in Glendale. In this TV show, you will hear from both the Glendale Police and Fire Departments with information specific to Glendale to help keep you and your family safe in a monsoon.
So with that, we will begin. Here is Monsoon, Eye on the Storm, in partnership with CBS 5 and Glendale 11.
Gusty winds, dangerous lightning, drenching downpours, and massive walls of dust. Arizona's monsoon is here. You're watching a CBS 5 News special, Monsoon, Eye on the Storm.
It is summer in the valley. It's also time for Arizona's season we call the monsoon. Hi, I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Dunn, along with the CBS 5 weather team.
And I'm Paul Horton. Soon our clear skies will turn dark with towering clouds in the distance, capable of producing devastating thunderstorms.
I'm Katie Baker. In the next half an hour, we'll prepare you for these storms that can pack damaging winds, deadly lightning, heavy rain, and enormous walls of dust. But first, let's take a look back at last year's season of storms. Our forecast for monsoon 2013 was for near normal to slightly below normal rain, which would mean less than 3 inches for the summer. 2.99 was the official total for the season from June 15th to September 30th, which actually puts us a little above average for the second year in a row.
However, in typical monsoon fashion, the storms come in surges. For example, more than half of our rain last season came in one 6-day stretch during the month of July. We start our look back at last year's storm season on a very somber note. The first notable storm of monsoon 2013 didn't include rain, but rather lightning that sparked a fire that took the lives of all but one of an elite firefighting team.
On June 28th, multiple lightning strikes sparked a fire that put the town of Yarnell, Arizona on the map. When the Yarnell Hill fire was reported, it was less than 1 acre. By Sunday morning, the Granite Mountain Hotshot team arrived on scene. 2 storm alerts were issued by the National Weather Service, and by late afternoon, the fire expanded rapidly and changed direction. That change in direction cornered the Granite Mountain Hotshot team, and they were forced to deploy their fire shelters. 19 firefighters were killed. Sole survivor Brendan McDonough was the lookout for the team and was not with his fellow firefighters when they died. At a memorial service attended by Vice President Joe Biden and Governor Jan Brewer, each firefighter's name was read aloud following the ringing of a bell to pay tribute to the fallen.
Joseph Wojak.
The Yarnell Hill fire is the deadliest fire in Arizona's history and the second deadliest in U.S. history. The area where the firefighters lost their lives is considered sacred ground. A permanent memorial to honor the Granite Mountain Hotshots is currently in the works.
The first notable storm of the year in the valley was in Ahwatukee on July 15th.
One of our producers shot this video near 32nd Street and Chandler Boulevard. Watch the tree topple onto the neighbor's truck. This was one of 4 downbursts that hit that area. The National Weather Service reported 80 to 90 mile-per-hour winds.
We're going for a ride!
On July 21st, 2 teens in Apache Junction quickly found themselves in a very bad situation.
Felt like 5 minutes, but it was only about 30 seconds.
That's how driver Chris Stein and his friend Steve Hobel felt as they saw water rushing towards them. Take a look. At times, the water flowing over the roof of their Ford Bronco. The 2 hung on to a tree until rescuers picked them up in a helicopter. 2 days later, we got another reminder of the danger of lightning. 2 tourists from another country were killed after being struck by lightning on an overlook on Highway 89A. A boy was also hurt but survived. September 9th and 10th, remnants from Tropical Storm Lorena drenched Arizona. The town of Eloy had massive flooding, and an extensive rescue effort was required to save this driver from the high water. These are the images that tell the story of Monsoon 2013.
To describe the monsoon to friends and family who live outside Arizona, how do you describe it?
Unbelievable. It's a lot of wind, a lot of sand, typically a lot of rain for a short period of time, but lately not so much the rain part.
A really large cloud of dust that's coming in all at once, and it just kind of envelops the whole sky, and then it is just messy and windy and dirty, and it's the most dusty, dirty windstorm you've ever encountered in your life. When I think of a monsoon, seeing the dust cloud roll in and seeing it rise above the mountains, it's pretty epic. All of a sudden it just downpours. It's like all the rain that we've missed the other 360 days of the year, it comes down at that one moment.
We asked you what the monsoon means, but the North American monsoon is actually a shift in the weather pattern. Here in Arizona, the month of June, we typically see dry westerly winds, but by July and August, those winds shift around the south to southeast. Well, that wind shift brings a lot of moisture to the state, in fact, from the Gulf of California and the Gulf of Mexico, and we can really feel an increase in humidity. Moisture is fuel for thunderstorms, and as that moisture moves in, a combination of the change in land elevation from the low desert to the high mountains plus daytime heating from the sun causes towering storms to develop. Well, as we just mentioned, a lot of fuel from these thunderstorms come up from the Gulf of California and the Gulf of Mexico.
And because of that, these thunderstorms typically start developing down south first, and they also develop high up in the mountains where that moist air is lifted into the sky. Those storms along the Mogollon Rim move cool air from the high country down to the desert. That air acts as a small cold front. It lifts the hot desert air and causes thunderstorms. As those towering thunderstorms collapse, rolling clouds of dust signal storms are coming.
You know how to drive through a haboob or anything like that yet?
What's a haboob?
That's a big windstorm with dust and debris.
No,
yeah, so ready.
I assume that you just kind of pull off the side and wait it out.
Charles is right. If you see a dust storm approaching and you can't avoid it, here's what you should do. First, pull your car as far off the road as possible. Put the car in park. Turn off your lights. Apply the emergency brake and take your foot off the brake pedal. If you don't, other cars behind you may use your brake light as a guide and rear-end you.
One especially dangerous stretch of road during these dust storms is along Interstate 10 south of the valley. The Arizona Department of Transportation actually held a workshop in Casa Grande this spring. Doug Nitzel of ADOT said the goal is to keep drivers safe during dust storms along that stretch of highway, with permanent and portable signs to share information with drivers.
If you're leaving Phoenix, if you're leaving Tucson, you'll get those messages instantly from our traffic operations center, and whether it's high winds or blowing dust, we're able to warn drivers.
DPS and the National Weather Service launched the Pull Aside, Stay Alive campaign in 2012.
So why do we get so many dust storms here? Well, the obvious answer is because we have a lot of dust. But it also has to do with storms. How strong they are, how many we get, and how much rain we get from those storms, especially early in the season. Let me show you what I'm talking about. We can think of this flower as all that loose dirt and sand in the desert. But in a case of a really dry winter and spring like we've had this year, and not a whole lot of rain with some of the early season storms, when we get a gusty storm coming along, it's dust storm city. When we have a wet winter and a wet spring and some early season storms that produce a lot of rain, that wets down the soil. So when a gusty storm comes along, we'll probably have some blowing dust, but it won't be that bad.
When you're not out and about, watch the CBS 5 weather team as we follow that wall of dust straight to your doorstep. You see that broken green line? It's actually dust rolling across the valley as seen on Live 5 Doppler radar. We can track it, show you where it's headed, and when it will hit your neighborhood. If you're not at home and need the latest weather information, we have all that at your fingertips. Check out our all-new free app with the very latest in weather tracking tools. You can check out the forecast in your neighborhood with highly responsive interactive maps optimized for 3G and Wi-Fi performance. You'll have access to the highest resolution satellite cloud imagery available. Get all your weather warnings and watches for your current location, as well as the most accurate 10-day forecast. Hey, you can also interact with CBS 5 by sharing your weather photos and videos at any hour of the day.
The CBS 5 app will keep you ahead of the storm when you're on the ground. But what about if you're flying high in the sky? We take a look at air travel and the monsoon. Plus, these sometimes destructive storms can leave behind damage to our homes that need repair. We have information to help you avoid scammers who want to take advantage of you. And our desert landscape doesn't absorb water from sudden downpours very well. All that rain could lead to flooding. Are you in a flooding hotspot? Find out when Monsoon Eye on the Storm returns.
You're watching a CBS 5 News special, Monsoon Eye on the Storm.
Hi everyone, I'm Julie Waters with Glendale 11. We hope you're enjoying this special program, Monsoon Eye on the Storm. Right now, we are here in Glendale's Emergency Operations Center. And joining us right now is the Glendale Fire Chief, Mark Burdick. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Julie.
Now, Mark, during a severe storm, you have firefighters who are stationed in this room monitoring the weather.
Yes, we typically will staff a few folks in here in severe weather to make sure that we have constant contact with both the weather information that comes into the Emergency Operations Center as well as the folks that are out in the field. We can directly contact them through this center, and we also have direct contact with our normal dispatch center, which is the Phoenix Fire Department Regional Dispatch Center. They control everything in the region, but we can specifically control our resources through this location.
Let's talk about the monsoon. We know it occurs every summer, but you want us to do something beforehand. Be prepared.
Be prepared. Have a plan in place. If we have one natural disaster in the greater metropolitan area here, it's monsoons. And we always talk about, if you know something is going to happen, have a plan to react to that. People need to know what they're going to do with their children, first themselves, their children, and as well as their pets, in a monsoon scenario.
Let's talk about a ready kit. First of all, what is a ready kit and what should be in it?
That contains things like flashlights, extra batteries, a battery-powered radio. You also have a simple first aid kit. Very important to have first aid available to you, because remember, it's very busy. We might not get there as quickly as we normally do.
If the power goes out, I take it you don't want us burning candles.
No, candles are bad. Again, candles can cause a second disaster, and that would be a house fire if somebody inadvertently knocked it over.
Glendale Fire Chief Mark Burdick, thank you so much for joining us and providing all these details to us today. Once again, folks, we've created a special website so you can get all this safety information. Go to glendaleaz.com/monsoon. We'll be back a little later in the show with the Glendale Police Chief, who also has some safety tips to share with us. In the meantime, we return to our special program, Monsoon Eye on the Storm.